Alright, so a couple of days ago, some major game development news dropped, and it looks like this is going to change the landscape of mobile gaming as a whole. The game engine developers Unity stated that they are going to be changing how they do their licensing, and this is mainly going to affect big AAA studios. Well, this is also going to affect Pokémon Go as well, and it's going to be pretty negative for the game. I'm going to be talking about all of this in today's video, so let's get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go discussion video. Alright, so the game engine developers Unity stated that they are going to be changing how they do their licensing for game developers in the year 2024. And the new policies are actually really problematic for a game like Pokemon Go. In case you weren't aware, a lot of the biggest mobile games out there are running on the Unity engine. I'm talking about games like Pokemon Go, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale. All of these games have Unity as the base engine. And what exactly are they doing? Well, anytime you download a game that is running the Unity engine, the developers of that app will need to pay a little bit of money to Unity. And I think this makes sense because there's a lot of games that have millions of downloads and Unity has not received a cut of any of that. And yeah, I think this is a smart business decision. However, for a free-to-play game like Pokemon Go, this is going to change the pricing models for a lot of in-app purchases, and it's going to back Niantic into a corner. I mean, it's really going to be devastating from them from a revenue point of view. I mean, if you think about it, Pokemon Go is a game that has been installed and uninstalled several times over the past several years by several players. Like, a lot of people out there play Pokemon Go, and then they'll quit for a little bit, and then they'll reinstall the game when something exciting happens, like Pokemon Go Fest. This is all going to cost Niantic money over time, and yeah, this is something they cannot ignore. A lot of people that I know, they are very uninterested with Pokemon Go unless there's a special event or a very good raid boss, and because of that, they'll constantly uninstall and reinstall the game, and yeah, I think that's going to be very problematic for Pokemon Go and Niantic. And there's also going to be cases where players who are very unhappy with Niantic are just going to maliciously uninstall and reinstall the game constantly in order to drive up those costs of running it. Let's say a bunch of disgruntled players are very unhappy with a design decision by Niantic. They could do this in order to drive up the costs and kind of stick it back to them. I really do not agree with that sort of practice, but it is definitely a possibility. That's really all that I'm saying. So yeah, look, this is a very interesting time for Pokemon Go as a whole. This could very well be the game killer for this game. If they do not get their act together and make a game that is retaining players, then you're going to see a lot of people just continuously uninstall the game and reinstalling it whenever something exciting happens, and that's going to be very problematic. So I really hope Niantic figures this out, because ultimately what I would like to see is Pokemon Go to do better, and in order for them to do that, they need to make sure their players are keeping the game on their phones. Now, in terms of this new licensing thing, I really don't have too many opinions about it. Like I said, it makes sense from a business point of view for Unity, and overall, I think it's going to be a good thing, because when it comes to Unity, it is an engine that I'm very familiar with. Like some of you may know, I used to work in the game industry, and one of the engines that I primarily worked on is Unity. I actually think this engine is really good, and it does a lot of great things, but in order for it to have a good sense of upkeep, they do need to continuously make revenue so that they can support it. This will be a big way for them to do that. So I'm not against this policy change, don't get me wrong, but I do think when it comes to AAA developers, they need to get their act together because they need to be the ones that has to adjust to this new policy. My firm belief is that the responsibility has to fall on Niantic to make a good product. That's how they can circumvent a lot of these policy changes. Otherwise, they're going to end up losing a lot of money, and they're going to have to make it up in some way that's going to be malicious towards players. Think about it. If they need to make additional money because the cost of service is a lot higher, then they're going to put a lot of those costs onto in-app purchases. So stuff that we're seeing right now that's pretty expensive, they're going to get even more expensive, like remote raid passes. And with regular raid passes, yeah, expect to see the prices for those items go up as well. Overall, if Niantic can't get their act together, it's going to be detrimental for everyone. Players are going to be unhappy, Niantic is not going to be making enough money, and Unity is not going to thrive as well because one of their biggest clients is no longer going to be using their platform. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm really curious how things are going to pan out, especially in 2024 when these new policies come into place, because I really think Pokemon Go was on really shaky ground this year. Yeah, they've had some really big highs this year. Like, there was some really great things that Niantic did, But of course, there was a lot of massive missteps and a lot of players ended up quitting the game this year. So I really do think Niantic has a big uphill battle to climb, and I'm really hoping they end up coming out on top, because my fear is that next year it's going to be too much for Niantic and Pokemon Go, and inevitably it's going to lead to the end of this game, which I would be devastated with. But in any case, yeah, that's just all my thoughts regarding everything that's going on right now. This is of course some really big news. Even big content creators like Ludwig has talked about it, and I really do think it's something we do need to continuously discuss. There has to be a lot of online discourse so that Niantic is aware of how the community feels, and we also need to make sure Unity is doing the right thing as well. But that's going to be it for this video, and I would love to know your thoughts regarding this topic, so make sure you sound off in the comment section down below. And of course, thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to all my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon Go, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Also, if you want to support my channel non-monetarily, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on the following platforms. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.